everybody, my name is Chris and this will be my spoiler review for episode 5 of Secret Invasion. I'm sorry it's a bit late because it has been a really busy week, but here it is. So let's get into it. Now, the character who really stood out to me in this episode was Olivia Colman, Sonya Farnsworth, doing everything that Fury should be doing, which is namely kicking Skrulls. But with a smile on her face, and she's able to take down Skrulls so easily. No wonder they want to become super, because they seem like no more powerful than ordinary humans despite being shifted and supposedly having super strength. And I mean, to take on two Skrulls with just herself and like the other guy, her security detail, and that didn't really make any sense to me. It's like your Skrulls aren't even trying, but Coachman and lines here are fantastic and made the scenes so enjoyable to watch. And she handled her Skrull superior far better than Fury did with Skrull Rhodey at the hospital. Why didn't he just shoot Skrull Rhodey? I was like, shoot that dude. I mean, Rhodey is security detail is a Skrull as well, because Rhodey was speaking freely in front of them, and I was like, if they are not Skrulls, they're really bad at their jobs. But if you are Fury, was already a wanted man with the Maria Hill footage out there, so why not at least take Skrull Rhodey out with him? Like, take the ship down with you, and the president is in danger. Why will Fury leave him? He's taking a lot of faith that the president heard his whispers, and I think he did. I think the president did hear the whisper, because he was like, yes, I heard there was Skrulls out there, but I mean, he was talking about the news because he was unconscious at the actual battlefield, but the president that seems a little hesitant around Rhodey. Maybe because he knows Rhodey is a Skrull. Now, moving on, why the DNA of every superhero affiliated with the Avengers is stored in one single bottle? I mean, explain that to me. Why did they have like each bottle for each type of Avengers? That really like makes sense. So yes, we discovered that the harvest is actually the superhero DNA from everyone who participate in the big final battle on Avengers Endgame, even Carol Danvers, and that's the battle she participated in. And I'm not quite sure how they figure out whose DNA was who, but they did, because Fury used the Skrulls to harvest the DNA after the battle. It just so happens that Gravik was one of those Skrulls. What didn't we get to see? That was either like the opening of this show or a flashback in this episode, and that would have been amazing to visit like the battle of the Avengers Endgames after that. And they could have done that. I mean, this show has like a 200 million budget. I mean, they could have afford that. And why didn't Gravik think of keeping some of that DNA for himself, right? He's supposed to be like a smart guy, but he didn't. And now Fury hidden the DNA, which Gravik desperately wants to add to his superpower, as Skrull power. And also, if Skrull can get to the store DNA, why didn't just go directly to the source, to the Avengers themselves, who are still walking around, and get it? I mean, Skrulls are, after all, are shape-shifting super trained spies who looks like the show can afford that. I mean, Ant-Man is walking around in San Francisco. You can actually do that. I mean, just saying. Now, Sonya even point blank asked Fury's, yet again for the second time he's been asked on this show, why you haven't called any of the Avengers. And this time Fury said it's personal, and I can we can't keep relying on them. And if this was going better, I would say yes, you have a point, Fury. But again, it's just like an excuse for not being able to afford them. Speaking of controversial moves, Fury, but the Harvest is like a very high level of betrayal for the Avengers, and they are not going to feel good about that if they ever find out about the Harvest. But luckily for Fury, the show can afford them, so he's never gonna like have to face the consequences of his actions. And what does Fury even want with that DNA, by the way? Like, did he always intended for the scroll maybe to incorporate it, or was going to grow his own Avengers, or make some of them in a lab? And I wish they were getting like a bit of a more backstory on this. And on that note, we did get like an adjacent to the Avengers cameo, and that's Natasha's contact from her movie, Rick Mason, a former agent of Shield, you might recall, who now work off the grid, supplying spy types with the kind of support they need when they decide to go off the grid. In fact, Fury even uses the Widowverse to get past airport security. Remember, Natasha used that herself in Winter Soldier, in Black Widow, and it was also used in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Cheryl Carter recently used it on Falcon the Winter Soldier. The thing about Skulls liking the code, I thought it was a very interesting detail, and they could have done a lot more with that. Even like a joke with Priscilla, like keeping the air conditioner full blast in the house. That would have been nice and cool. And I was moved by Priscilla's story about why she picked her house, but then her nice house got completely shot up by some very incompetent squirrels, and her house got completely destroyed. And she was like, the whole reason I want to be here is to preserve it. And I was like, well, would you want to go as far away from this house as possible, or at least like go outside? I really enjoyed that action sequences between her and Gaia, like taking like a stand in the house and fighting all those enemy skulls. And that was a very cool action scenes, and I like the back to back on that. It was very cool. But no wonder Gravik is upset. Like the Skull Assassination Squad, like they didn't even grease in it any of them. His army of Skrull can't seem to do anything right. They even turn on him. And that fight, by the way, gave us the closest we have ever seen yet to a proper Skrull action. I was like, there they are. That looks like a super Skrull. But just Gravik makes the mistake of losing his temper and telling he's far away. None of them actually matter. They're just like cannon fire. And I feel he was telegraphing that for a while, but he finally said it, and he means it, because he was trying to get Skrull Rhodey to get the United States to blow out like the Skrull compound, the safe haven, with all the innocent Skrulls in it, as well as all the humans that are in cold storage who are currently being impersonated. If Fury doesn't even give him the harvest, and he said like, because he says to Fury, hey Fury, when you show up like to do the handoff, make sure you take some radiation pills, because we have a real radiation problem here, because we are an abandoned radiation power plant. But what about other humans in cold storage? Are they like being slowly poisoned by the radiation? I'm very curious about that. Finally, it was since that Talos is there. That Viking film was pretty final. I was like, could you even rotting into the scroll machine? Maybe he's not completely there, or maybe they could have revived him with the super scroll powers, but they're like, no, we let him on fire. And I was like, oh well, what a shame. And what a loss, and what a waste of a character. As bad as Maria here, quite frankly, does this mean Emilia Clarke will stick around as the new the only good scroll and liaison to the humans, but also one of the fews I think the with the super scroll power. I mean, does Gravik makes out of this show alive? Would she be the only super scroll? And it was sad to see Talos on the news moment before he died. Still hurts. Gravik's team might have been the one who leaked the footage, because I believe if you keep rolling, it also shows you that very soldier shifted into Gravik and killed clearly the injured girl, which I think would have led the humans, when they saw that on the news, to see like the situation is actually a lot more complex than you have like Skull versus Skulls. Now we get Fury really back. Now he's putting the eye patch back. He's putting his leather coat from the first Avengers movie, his classic look, and it was nice to see that. Now I would have preferred to see him like in a new outfit. I think would have been a lot more cooler. Obviously this indicates us that he's like back in action. The old Fury is back, and that's nice, but I would have preferred like a new outfit. Also, Nick Fury calls someone and says, "It's time, let's finish this." Now, my theory is that he's calling Gaia and telling her that let's go and finish this with Gravik. And some people are saying that it could be Gravik or Rhodey, but I think it's Gaia who is he calling. And because in the preview for the final episode we see him fighting a Super Skrull Gravik, and I think in the finale we'll get two Nick Fury. Once will be the actual Nick Fury, the other one will be like Gaia personally him. So I think that makes sense. Maybe we'll get some surprise cameos some kind. We'll see. I'm hoping it will get like a tie-in to the Marvels. That would be really exciting, but we'll have to wait and see. So we have like one episode left, and I hope they can really stick the landing on this one, because this is mostly the problems with most of the Disney MCU shows. So I'm really hoping they can stick the landing with this finale, and I hope it's closer to an hour, because this started the episode like with almost an hour long, and now they're like 35 minutes long, and I mean they're getting shorter and shorter, and I think they have a lot of things to tie up. So I hope they can really do it. I think we're going to maybe get some link into the Marvels because of Nick Furies, and also the Skrulls and Carol Danvers. So maybe we'll get a cameo from Carol Danvers here. That would be awesome. So, but let's see what happens. I really enjoy it, but I hope they can really nail that finale. So that's my review for episode 5 of Secret Invasion. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.